You thought I was feeling you? That nigga a munch. Nigga either he ate it for lunch. Bitch on my body, I get what I want. Like, you thought I was feeling you? That nigga a munch. Nigga either he ate it for lunch. Bitch on my body, I get what I want. Like, bitch stay mad, let's keep it a beam. Know they be mad, I be on the scene. Ass too fat, can't fit in a jean. Use my stitch, but it's not what it seems.
If you're wondering why they're wearing the same clothes, it's because we haven't showered in a week since the last episode.
You're actually so annoying. I was gonna start off. I was gonna be like, remember how he talked about batch creating content in the last episode? yeah. We're putting hours to practice.
Yeah. So that's what happened.
But you just had to.
We haven't showered. What can we say? We're stinky gals. Okay.
I was gonna bring up the conversation we had with Tando and NJ and them the other day, and Londa. Was Londa here for that? No, OJ.
Yeah.
About who's funny. And you see, Tando, that was an effortless joke.
Yes, we're talking to you.
It just came naturally. But yeah, anyways.
Okay.
Let's not start that topic. Fifi's really funny, by the way. You'll come to learn that.
Now there's pressure. Now I have to be cracking jokes.
Don't force it.
Yeah, no.
Hi, guys.
Hey, guys. So we're back. Welcome to the second episode ever.
That's so consistent.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Love to see that for us.
Yeah.
We just have so much to talk about. I think that's why it's easy for us to
just keep going.
Yeah, because it's like we could keep going. We do this with the cameras off anyway, so might as well show you guys what's going on in our heads and with our conversations.
Yeah.
So, what are we talking about today? Today, would you like to introduce it or should I?
No, you can.
Okay. Today we're talking about the idea of authenticity, the idea of being yourself. We want to go through our own relationships, you know what I mean, with being authentic and being our authentic selves. And then also we want to talk a little bit about social media and how social media affects authenticity. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
To be honest, I feel like Fifi has a lot more to say on this topic. I won't lie. I feel like you have a lot more to say because you're like the sister, you and the city are the sisters. Even Tato, you'll like deactivate your social media accounts when you're feeling like you're losing touch with yourself, or it's like, you know, it's just not doing much for your energy or whatever. And I'm very much like, I don't think I've gotten to a point where I feel the need to withdraw from social media. Like, I'll withdraw from posting, maybe. I won't force my posts. Like, usually I'm someone who, I like sharing Instagram stories. Like, my stories, I'm usually full on with that. And then my actual posts on my feed, it's like once every few months. But even with my stories, I can't force it. Like, I'm not waking up like, okay, what am I going to post today? Like, it's more like as it happens, I'll capture it and I'll be like, oh, I want to share this. So for me, withdrawing from social media happens when I just decide that I don't want to post. Or for a long time, my intention is not to, like, it's not an intentional break. I feel like, am I explaining that well? Like, it's never an intentional, oh, I'm going to stop posting for the next few months. It just happens, and then it goes on indefinitely until I just decide that I want to come back.
But why do you stop in the first place? It can't be because, you have nothing to post. Like, why do you stop?
Well, at the moment, it's more because of my phone. Like, my phone got stolen in December, so I'm using a temp right now. And I'm very, like, picky when it comes to, like, camera quality and stuff.
Why are you picky about that?
I am very aesthetic oriented, so I need things to look good. Like, I want to capture things as they look good, and I don't want the quality of the photo or the video to take away from that.
Okay, I get that. But I feel like with that, I could also be like, but why? Like, if you want to post on social media, why don't you just post with what you have? Like the phone that you have, the quality.
No.
Why?
Don't get me wrong. This isn't a chat of start with what you have.
Yeah,
No.
this is not at all that chat.
It's not
for
that
sure.
chat. It's just, I can't explain it. Like, take, for example, if I'm having a margarita, I usually will take a picture of that, like an aesthetic picture of that, and I'll post it. But if my camera's not hitting, I'm just like, it's fine. Like, I'm not like mad that I can't post, but I'm also not gonna post just to post.
But camera hitting for what? Isn't the point to just show like you're drinking a margarita? Isn't that the point?
No,
What's the point? It needs to look good.
I'm posting for me. I'm posting because I like that it looks good, and so I'm sharing it. And yes, there's an audience, but I'm not doing it to tell y'all I'm drinking a margarita. I'm doing it because I want to. It's like
Yeah,
the point
yeah, yeah.
of social media, right?
Oh,
like
for
you're
sure.
sharing, but like a lot of people share for others, and for me, I'm sharing, and I know that others are gonna see it, but I'm sharing what I like.
Yeah.
Like I like how it looks, or how I captured it, or how someone else captured it. For example, if you take something and you send it to me, but so if I don't like it, I'm not gonna post it.
But don't you think you not liking it is a little bit informed by what other people would think of it? So, for example, when you're having a margarita, you want to take a photo of a margarita, right? But you can't have bad photo quality, because if you're gonna share that, that's not gonna look great.
I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but nah, I think it more irks me. It more irks me. In all honesty, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Maybe to some extent, but for me, it doesn't. That's not the focus. Like, because yeah, maybe it's more a thing of like, okay, because I don't like the quality. How do I phrase it? How do I word it? I feel like it's more me. It's more me. Like, yes, to
Yeah.
some degree, whether I'm aware of it or not, it's informed by the fact that people are gonna see that the quality is poor. But I think above and beyond, it's more that it's an ick for me.
I get that. And that's why I was just like asking, like, why? Because I think at the core of it, if we really think about it, because also the things I post, like I post photos that I like photos of me that I like, what I was doing, you know what I mean? But there's an element of questioning, even if you're not like 100% conscious of it, of wondering how will other
like
people
what-
see
yeah.
it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, not us diving straight head first
Straight into it.
into that part, but I just wanted us, like, we should talk a little bit about our personal relationships with like the idea of just being yourself. I can start.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'd say when I was young, like when I was really, really young, maybe like primary school, I've never been like that super outgoing kid, but I was definitely a lot more confident. Like the world hadn't gotten to me yet. So I even remember like doing dance talent shows. I used to sing in talent shows, even though like now I'd say I'm probably not the best singer ever. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I suck, but like I'm not. Right now I wouldn't do a talent show for sure. But back then, like it didn't matter. I liked what I liked. I was just who I was.
Yeah.
I'd say in high school, I don't know if it has to do with like being a teenager and like being in high school, and also I think a lot of elements added to my high school experience, being so far away from home, first time like boarding school, completely foreign land in South Africa, no friends, just so many like factors. But I feel like my personality or like my light sort of started to dim a little bit in high school. So I feel like I became a very neutral type of person. So I was like agreeable, you know what I mean? Like I was neither like here nor there. Like I was just like that person that I wasn't argumentative. I wasn't anything polarizing. I was just there. And I feel like that's probably why I got along with so many different personality types, because if you're just there, you're just there. You know what I mean? You don't have any like strong opinions or anything. But then I'd say maybe like later high school, varsity times, I started like really thinking like I think I started getting annoyed with myself a little bit, where I'm like, why are you so like, not bland? I wasn't bland. I didn't have a bland personality, but like, I couldn't quite put a finger on like what makes me, like what makes Rifile, like what's something that it's like, oh, that's so Rifile. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I felt like at the time, I didn't have anything that was me. I felt like I was almost like bits and pieces of other people, and that can be beautiful. Remember, we were talking about how we're like a culmination of everyone we've ever met, but that can also be like I didn't have my own. I didn't have my own personal identity. I felt like also like with different people, I was a different person. Like not like fake, not like Two-Face, but like it was just like I was shapeshifter. Yeah, like it was almost like, who are you? Like what makes you you?
Yeah.
So I'd say then Varsity came and I was really trying to like deep dive into this journey of self-discovery, who I am. You know, it came
and
through.
She deep dived. She deep dived. Yo, when I think about like how much you're consistently transforming, or like over the last few years alone, even just looks wise, discovering your style, your taste.
And it's just been like a real journey of self-discovery for real, because first it was like, I think one thing, like first it was like small thing, not small, not insignificant, but like things like, oh, like what music do I like? You know what I mean? Because early high school I just have a lot of music phases, okay? Yeah. So it's like, okay, what music do I like? You know what I mean? And then also, what's my fashion sense? What are my ideas? That's when, remember I told you, I actually started analyzing my viewpoints on certain things. So you can be like, oh, this is bad, this is good because everyone else says that, but what is your reason? Like what's like, you need to come up with your reason. Me and Katie were having that conversation in terms of the death penalty, right? Because everyone's like, oh, death penalty,
you know, but like we were like, think about it. What do you actually
and the whole exercise was not to be like, not to change your mind. It's just you need to have a reason. Like when someone asks you, you need to have a reason why you have that opinion.
Like when someone asks you what you stand for, like just take a moment to introspect on whether you have a reason, like your own personal reason as to why you stand for it, or if it's like a combination of what you've heard from the outside world.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like with social media, with everything, and
it's so easy to follow.
It's so easy to just follow without knowing why you follow. And the beautiful part is a lot of the things that have happened with social media and all these ideas, a lot of them are very like liberal, are good ideas, but you take them for face value. Like you take them for face value. You don't analyze for yourself. And it's okay to analyze and still be on the, following the same path, because, I agree with a lot of them, but you need to have your own reasoning, you know. But anyway, so I did a deep dive. What are my values? What are my interests? What do I like? How do I like to dress? How do I like to present? All those things. And then came the execution part, where it's like, okay, now you need to be brave enough to be that. So it's okay to have like an idea of yourself in your head, but you need to be brave enough to be that. And I feel like when I became brave enough to start being that, say out loud, I like Taylor Swift, guys.
Why did you
that was really heavy like on my heart?
It felt like a voice was coming out of you. Like someone was trapped inside. That's so crazy. Like you really, that escalated so quick.
Don't kill me. Don't kill me.
Like, say with your chest. I love
Okay.
Please. Yeah.
But yeah, so you need to be able to say it out loud, just see how it feels, you know.
Own it, yeah.
So yeah, so it came to the part of like having to execute and be who you are outwardly, not just in your head, right? So I feel like I got a lot, not backlash, it's weird to say backlash, but like, you know, when people like make little comments and you're like, what? So at the time, I sent you a lot of Miles Carter poems. I've sent you many before, but at the time, there was this poem called Picture Perfect or something. Yeah, Picture Perfect. And he says something in that poem along the lines of, okay, guys, I've listened to these poems countless amounts of times. I could probably recite them bar for bar. So I just have it at the top of my head right now. But he says, I seem to step out of character when I be myself or something like that. So I literally remember in first year all the time when I was like, if I decide to dress differently on that day where I'm like, oh, I want to try out this outfit, people will be like, oh, that's so unlike you.
Yeah.
Or, oh, wow. Oh, look at Revs. Like, look at her. Look, that's new. You know what I mean? And as much as, yeah, it was new because I was just starting to be myself, those kind of comments are kind of like,
so you have this perception of who you think I am, and now I'm kind of showing you without you realizing the real me.
Yeah. And like when I
And
have
it's
the
kind
courage
of-
to like step out of my box and you're like, oh, that's so out of character. It's kind of like, what do you mean by that?
But I think for sure, hearing that when you are in that place, respectfully, I would say you like maybe you taking it as, oh, but what's making you say that? Why are you saying that? Maybe that was a bit of projection because I doubt that people would say it with like ill intention. I feel like it just made you aware that you're still discovering yourself and people actually, like it was that thing, that little voice that calls you out to be like, actually, this is me and people don't realize it. Why don't people know who I am?
Yeah. For sure. I definitely agree. It was definitely like projection and kind of like that insecurity jumping out. Like, what do they mean? Because I definitely started to think like, okay, there's this new me. I've always been this way, but like I'm starting to show it. And then people are having like a certain reaction to it. So it definitely made me think like, oh, is this
The
me
fact that
like
there's a reaction.
yeah, like is this me like likable? Are they like will they like this
Yeah.
version of me? Because all along I've been this other version that they've never known.
Like their reaction, I feel, made the absence of yourself more evident. Like I think it probably brought it to the forefront where it made you, like it emphasized the fact that damn, okay, they like you're still discovering yourself, you're still getting to know yourself, and this part of you hasn't been exposed to the people around you. Especially if it's coming from people close to you, for sure you're gonna be like,
Yeah.
like you didn't know?
Yeah.
Maybe because I didn't know. Like,
Yeah.
why didn't I know? Like, it calls you out in a way.
Yeah, it definitely does. But also, it wasn't like happening. I wouldn't say like you guys did it, like my siblings, because I'd say those are the people I'm closest to. I wouldn't say you guys did, like, were like, oh, that's new, or oh, who's that? You know what I mean? It was more people who I was like friends with. But it was kind of that. I don't know how to explain this. It was kind of that thing of, because now I'm not friends with those people. So it's kind of adding up. It's kind of adding up. Because obviously, if you, and this was completely unintentional. If you create friendships and you're not like yourself in that friendship, and literally unintentionally not yourself, they kind of became friends with that version of you that you put out.
Yeah.
So when you start to come into yourself, you know, you're more confident to be yourself, boundaries, all that kind of thing. It's almost not inevitable that they'll fall away, but they kind of fall away because they weren't friends with this you.
Yeah, you
They're
don't
friends
relate
with
anymore.
an old you. who maybe didn't have boundaries, who maybe, you know, wasn't quite herself. So when she started to put up those boundaries, that's not what they signed up for, kind of thing. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of my journey. Ever since then, I feel like every day I come into myself a lot more. I'm definitely surrounded with people who are... I'm definitely in relationships and friendships and all sorts of relationships that allow for growth and allow for someone to change, because we're gonna change. Like, as people, you change. So I feel like the relationships that I'm in, my friends, all of that, are very... there's so much room. You know what I mean? There's just room to be yourself. There's room to change. There's room... like, I don't ever feel like, oh, if I decided to change this about me, I'm gonna lose this person. Like, at this point, I don't feel like that, and I'm so blessed for that. But that's my journey. Obviously, I'm only 21. I'm probably gonna be many different women. You know what I mean? Like, I'm definitely gonna keep changing, keep evolving.
Tina Turner.
Every R.I.P.
Big rip.
I'm not gonna do that.
That's her
Tina
thing. That's
Turner.
not my thing. It's all in me.
Yeah. So that's my personal journey. I think the only reason I have that story like to tell is because, again, I've thought about this a lot. And it's taken a lot of reflection of my past and how it's like come to who I am today, and it takes a lot of reflection for sure, and self-awareness, like we were saying. So yeah, that's me.
I think for me, my relationship with authenticity has been good. Like, I don't think it's ever gotten to a point where I'm questioning my character. I feel like I've been the same pretty much all my life. And it's that thing we were saying earlier on, that for me, I'm definitely someone who feels that the people around me contribute a lot to not who I am, but like my taste. Maybe taste in music. Yeah, mainly music. Like, I really do adopt a lot of things from people around me, but I don't adopt them to relate to them. I adopt them because it's something I discover that I actually enjoy. So I won't listen to an artist because my friend listens to them. It'll be like, oh, my friend listens to them, like they put me on, and I like the music. You know, like, it's something that I'm like, okay, I can actually listen to this person. So I feel like I pick up a lot of things from the people around me. I also feel like I'm that person who can be in any space. However, there's a part of me that if I'm like unfamiliar with a crowd, I need a source of comfort. That could be having a friend of my own with me, or like my siblings or whatever. Because I can be a bit timid. But the thing is, if you know me, you'd be like timid. Like, I'm not extroverted like hakepape, like I'm not out there like that. But at the same time, you probably wouldn't use shy to describe me if you know me now. But if you know me from like grade 8, primary, definitely more shy. Like, I feel like the introverted side of me was like...
Primary, though.
Yeah. Like, when it came to interacting with people.
Primary? I literally used to... like, you were the one who had threatened people with...
No, there's a difference between looking intimidating and being shy. Like, I feel like I was more introverted and more to myself, but I feel like people found me intimidating. I don't like that.
Are you intimidating, or were they intimidated?
Yeah.
That's their problem.
Yeah.
It's not your problem.
And it wasn't even because of my actions. I feel like I just didn't smile as much, and my resting face, I wouldn't say it's a resting bitch face, but it's not... I don't look happy. I don't look happy. I feel like my mouth just naturally a little bit just dips a little. Like, I don't look sad, but I don't look, you know? I kind of just look stern.
You think that even today? Like even like now in this point of your life? You think that?
Yeah, but I feel like I'm not always smiling. Like I'm not always walking around smiling and stuff. But I feel like if you see me, you might be like, damn, she looks stern, or like, I don't want to say strict, but like, yeah. So I feel like I looked stern in primary, like when I wasn't smiling. And so people in her grade, like certain people in her grade would feel like, oh, you know, they think that I'm like, when really
I feel like
I'm
my
not.
sister is gonna come.
That's why she'd
come
use
for
me, like certain people
Huh.
using me. Kante, like what am I going to do? Like,
And I'd fully haven't I
nothing.
called you? I have been like, haven't I?
I don't know.
I think I have.
It also didn't help that I was a prefect in
Yeah.
Standard 7. So there was that, it added to like that authority.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all that to say, it's quite different now. I feel like I can get along with a lot of people, but there was a time I reflected on it, and I was like, damn, I really just am like, not charismatic because it doesn't come naturally, like our cousin Karabo. He is charismatic.
He is charisma.
Yo, charisma personified. Like he's the type who he can go to a till, like you're in a store and he's at the till and he makes conversation with the lady at the till, but like, or the guy at the till, but laughter, like jokes, like they laugh, they're friends.
And afterwards we leave and we're like, oh, you know that person?
He's like, nah.
Like, and it's always like, wow.
See, I don't have that level of charisma, but I feel like I get along with people. But then I reflected on it and I was like, as much as I get along, like it's easy for me to have a good time with people, it's also resulted in me having a lot of acquaintances. So there was a time where I had to really identify my friends. Where I was like, okay, no, but my friends know a lot more about my life. They know that I'm comfortable going to them if I'm going through stuff. They've seen me like highest of moods, lowest of moods. Those are my friends. Because there's a time a few years ago, I don't know, and it happens a lot though, when I'm thinking of planning something, like maybe for my birthday if I want to have like dinner or something, and I'm thinking of the guest list, and I'll add people, and then I have to like pause and be like, but would these people add me? Like, do they actually know anything about my life other than the fact that we chill and have a good time? Like, yeah, we chill regularly, we have a good time. But beyond that, you're not checking on me, like, even if it's every few months. Because to be fair, I'm also a friend who, with my actual friends, with my closest friends, we're not in constant communication. Like, we catch up in bulk. It'll be like, you know, a few months have gone, we haven't talked. Oh, how's it going? What's going on? And then we fill each other in and we're up to date, and then until the next catch-up session. But there's just this thing where I realize that I try to nurture relationships that are purely meant to be acquaintances. And I try to bring them into spaces that I should only reserve for those closest to me.
Yeah.
And I think I'm doing better with identifying the people that are closest to me. And yeah, like it's okay. The acquaintances, it's fine. And the thing is, even the acquaintances, it could be people that you would think I'd consider my friends because we maybe chill regularly. But the way I define friendship anyways, when I realize that they know me on a very surface level, I think that's what helps me identify that, okay, you're not actually a friend.
Acquaintance. You mentioned earlier how when you're with a new group of people, you may be a bit timid. Why do you think that is?
So I feel like it's a thing of comfort and, yeah, or discomfort rather. I think when I'm around, especially because once you get to know me, like I said, you'll realize that I'm really not as introverted as I may seem face value. Like, I feel like face value, I seem like someone who's very to themselves, very, you know, I'm just focusing. I'm just in my own world. I'm minding my business, quite literally. But then when you get to know me, I can be a bit, you'd be like, like, who is this? Like, where did that come from? Where did that energy come from? or whatever. So I feel like it's just that comes out when I'm comfortable around people or around someone. And so if I'm around an unfamiliar crowd, it's back to factory settings. It's like I'm just observing, I'm just seeing, the vibes, and then I'll find someone who I connect with and it'll happen naturally. Like, I also don't try to force connections. I can't. I can't force connections. But I also get more comfortable with liquid courage. Like, if I'm drinking in a social setting, it's easier for me to interact with people than if I'm like completely sober. Not that I have to be drunk, but like just having a drink. Like, it makes me more, it loosens me up a bit more. But also, I was saying that I feel like because of that, people tend to meet me in social settings where I am having drinks and I'm more sociable, more out there. And I think that's why I have so many acquaintances.
Yeah.
Because when I hit it off with someone, we hit it off. Like, it's like you would think this person is my friend, to the point where it's like we can... And that's when you realize that, okay, acquaintance, like, this isn't anything serious, because soon after that interaction, maybe you'll connect on social media, and then we'll talk, like, but like very brief, and then it's like radio silence. And for me, it's not that we didn't connect. It's not like, okay, we didn't connect, but it makes it apparent that was just a good setting, good time.
Yeah.
But like, do we actually relate? Like, do we have anything in common that will lead to an actual friendship? So, yeah, which makes it a thing where when I do make new friends, I know that it's authentic because we communicate after.
Yeah.
Like, after the social setting or whatever it is. And like, it actually feels like, okay, like it feels familiar, even though you're new. And it doesn't happen often for me though. But like, for example, with my friend Dumelo, she's someone who we met in a social setting. We were all drinking and stuff, and it was vibes. Like, you hit it off, the girls' bathroom, whatever. But then we were both so intentional about maintaining that relationship after all of that. And now she's become one of the people that are like closest to me, know a lot about my life. And I met her 2 years ago? Not even 2 years. This is the second year. 2021, December.
Yeah, but this is the second year, yeah.
Yeah, November, December 2021 is when we met. But you would think that she's been in my life for a long time, because especially like when I think about old friendships, people that used to be really close to me don't even come as close as she is to me right now. And that was one situation where I realized that, okay, she's an acquaintance who is meant to be a friend. Like, I didn't have to force it. And the effort came effortlessly from both sides. So yeah, sorry that went on to a tangent.
Yeah.
But that was just to say that I do get along with a lot of people in terms of me feeling... Yeah, so I'm just that person who I get along with a lot of people on a surface level. I've always been sure of myself, but I feel like my journey with being self-aware, I almost didn't, like I was saying to you last night, I almost didn't realize it was happening when it was happening. Like, I look back now and I'm like, wow, I actually have grown a lot. I'm very sure of myself. I'm very self-aware. I'm very quick to like hold myself accountable. Yeah, I'm very quick to check myself. And I feel like that's maybe why, not that people who need social media breaks aren't self-aware or whatever, but I feel like it's never gotten to a point where I feel that social media is draining me or taking a part of me away from me, and so I need to back off completely.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get to the social media chat just now, but I wanted to go back. You were like, in social settings, when you're not familiar with the people around you, and let's say you're not drinking, and then it's like factory settings, and factory settings is like discomfort, not like...
Very in my head.
when you're around new people that you're not close with, what makes you draw back?
I feel like it's just I find comfort in familiar spaces and familiar faces. So I don't think it's anything beyond that. I think I just need, like I said, I need a source of comfort. So it's just the thing of having to warm up to the new environment or the new faces if I'm alone in that situation. It's very easy if I at least have one source of comfort, one person. But if I'm alone, which it really happens, I really put myself in those situations anyways, because I know that there's that level of discomfort. Also, it's not easy for me to approach people. Like sometimes I even wonder how I make new friends other like outside of meeting them in social settings, because it's easy to interact like on that level. But for example, like on campus, I'm very to myself. I'm not someone who in the lecture room, in the lecture venue or whatever, I'm like talking to the person next to me even though I don't know them. And there are people who can fully do that. Like there's a time where I wrote a test like on campus, and as soon as we finished, you know how they collect the papers and stuff, they collected our papers and the girl in front of me turned around to me and was like, how did you feel about it? Like, what did you think? And I'm like, how did you do that? Like, we don't know each other, but you just turned around and spoke to me like we're friends.
Yeah.
Which I appreciated. I liked it. But it makes me realize how in my head I am about interactions with people that I don't know.
And what's going on in your head? Or like not necessarily the things that you're saying. So I'm not necessarily asking like what thoughts are you having. Maybe they are literal thoughts, but what like feelings? Like what are you feeling when you feel like that discomfort?
Like I have to talk to someone I don't know.
Yeah, like
nerves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely nervousness for the most part.
And why are you nervous? Like, what are you? Because also nervousness.
Because how they gonna receive me?
That's what I wanted to get to.
Hey, therapy. This is not a therapy session. Please.
We are on the couch. We are lying down on the couch.
But yeah, it's definitely like a thing of how you're gonna be perceived or received.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. So.
Yo, you really dug to get there.
I was because I feel like sometimes we may not, we'll be like, oh, for example, you are a charismatic person, like in certain settings, you are, how you are. But then when you like say things like, oh, but when I'm around new people, I feel like this discomfort, right? But then once I get to know you, I warm up, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, okay, but why?
What's making
you uncomfortable? Yeah. And that's the core of the whole authenticity
And by the way, I would have gotten straight to that point if I realized that that's what it was. But you literally had to dig to get there, and I got there with you. Like,
yeah,
it wasn't like I was here like, I don't know what it is, but I know.
And that's also where self-awareness comes in.
Yeah.
Because for me, for example, in first year, my friends can tell you, it was a struggle to get me to go out. I did not like to go out, and first year is like when you're supposed to be partying, you know what I mean? But I really didn't want to go out. You guys even know at home you have to beg me to go out before. And back then I'd be like, oh, I just don't like to go out. I don't like to go out. It's just not my thing. And I really had to sit with myself. Why don't you like going out? Oh, because when I go out, I'm like quiet and everyone's just talking. And it's like, but why are you quiet? And literally, I had to like keep asking myself and keep digging. And then I realized, because it's almost like I'm worried what they think about me kind of thing. And like, also, I know my personality. I think I have a great personality now, you know what I mean? And I know, I mean, someone's got to say it.
Yeah.
So I did that.
That was good.
Yeah, but yes, I think now I have a good personality, and for the longest time I've always said my family, my siblings, my sisters, you guys know me, you guys know my personality, but it always struggled to translate to new people. It was just like, if you know me, you know certain things about me. But when I'm out in public, I struggled to show my personality, and I didn't understand why. And that's why I hated going out, because it was like, I'm this person, I'm having a great time, and then I go out and I'm all of a sudden freezing, all that kind of thing. And I hated who I was when I was outside because that's not me. And I'd just be like, rather I don't go outside because rather I just, I can be me at home type of thing. So literally there was a point I genuinely was like, I have social anxiety. Like,
I see that as well.
I literally was like, I have social anxiety. I need to go see someone, but because it doesn't make sense why I can't, like, when I'm outside. And the thing is, it sounds like I'm exaggerating because I'm sure people who met me in first year won't be like, oh, you were so awkward. Like, they won't say that.
Yeah.
But I just I wouldn't feel 100% myself when I was outside. So that's just to say, like, I really had to dig deep to, figure out what's going on. And I had to, like, work on learning to be myself in whatever space because I know myself. And I think that's where confidence comes in. That's where, like, being sure of you and what you bring to the table comes in. And also, it's a disservice, like, because also we're very destiny, fate driven type of people.
Yeah.
If I meet you, if our paths cross, if we have a certain conversation, I personally, shoot me, there's a lot of people who don't believe in destiny. I 100% get it, but that's my opinion. I think it was destined to happen. That interaction, no matter how small.
Yeah.
That person that I say hi to in the elevator, you know what I mean? Maybe they needed a chat. Whatever the case may be, I feel like our interaction was destined. And I think it's a disservice not to be myself because there's a reason they came in contact with Refile. So Refile needs to be herself right now because it's a complete, like, what was the point?
Yeah.
So I've been working on that. But so that and social media, this is because social media is like being outside without being outside. That's where the social media chat can now come in. Because my struggles with social media was, like I said, I think I have a great personality. And I've always wanted to, like, show that. I wanted to be that. But I would struggle to do it outside, and I'd struggle to do it on social media. Outside is different. You have conversations with people. They might forget it the next day. Cool. But on social media, it's almost like there's certain personas that are out there. And it's almost like you have to keep up a certain image or personality. So I almost felt like if I was going to be the fashion girly, that's all I could be. And I had to, like, execute that well.
Niches.
Yeah, it's
also,
like that whole...
it becoming a whole thing now. Like, people don't just post to post.
Yeah. And it's like, I almost felt like, okay, if I had to be the fashion girly, I had to be the fashion girly. And I couldn't say something funny on my story because that, like,
that's
takes away
not
from
who
the
you
aesthetic.
are.
That's not who I am, but it is who I am. And it just got to the point where, this is in terms of authenticity. There's many layers to my issues with social media, but in terms of the authenticity part, I felt like I had to keep up a certain image where it's kind of like the Miles Carter poem. I am not, you can't fit me in a box. I'm not a painting. I change and I'm different. Like, you can't, like, the image you have of me, there's so many layers to who I am.
Shapeshifter.
I'm a shapeshifter in the best way possible.
In the best way possible, yeah.
Yeah.
Sex, niggas be dreaming. I'm from the X, niggas be scheming. I'm on their necks, they's not breathing.